All right, so this is a bit of a boomer tier video. I got no mic. This is a selfie angle, right? Front facing camera, but have a common issue I come up with, an issue of like semantics and nomenclature, where I will assign clients who have already been through an LP typically and are, into intermediate training. I'll assign them a strict press and I'll explain what it is, and they'll still do it wrong. Not necessarily because not because they're doing anything wrong, because it's confusing. Some people use strict press to refer to different things. It's kind of like military press. Like you go to Gold's Gym or Globo Gym, and a trainer there will tell you that a seated Smith machine with a your back against a bench half rep is a military press. Whereas some other purists will tell you a military press is when your heels are together, your torso is ramrod straight, you have no hip throw, you have no rebound, and you press it overhead. So it's kind of one of those things. When I say strict press, I want to be very clear about what I mean to my clients, and I thought this might be useful for the general audience, the general YouTube audience as well, or Instagram audience, who also does strict presses. And I wanted to be clear about what I mean and give a demo. So when I say strict press, of course, without any qualifications, I'm referring to a barbell, a standing barbell version of the lift. If I want dumbbell, I'll say dumbbell press or seated press. So standing barbell. Strict in my nomenclature, the way I refer to it, the way I categorize it, just means that there's no rebound of any kind at the bottom. There's no touch and go stretch reflex like the press 1.0 or the middle reps of the press 1.5, and there's no hip throw, and there's no layback. I generally am not super duper stiff. There's a tiny bit of layback, although I personally don't do any just because I don't do any ever, just not the way my body works. But if you're a laybacker, I don't want really, the purpose of a strict press is really to get upper body work, pure upper body work in via the press. A tiny, tiny, tiny bit of layback I'm generally okay with, but it's really small. We really want this to be about the upper body. So no hip throw, no stretch reflex, and essentially no layback. If it's a tiny bit, maybe okay, judgment call. So that's what I mean by strict press. Now we're gonna look at two examples. I did 2 sets of 5 earlier today, and I filmed them just so you could see what they look like. Here we are with the demo video. Let's watch it in regular full speed first. We have a special guest.
Hello, lady.
Don't know who that guy is, but he was in the act for some reason.
Good. Good.
Set 5.
Nice.
One more.
Good. Good set.
All right, so that's the thing at full speed. I was pretty happy with the bar speed considering it was beltless, no wrist wraps, and I had already done a 5x5 heavy bench. Oh, that's an awkward face I'm making there, isn't it? Okay, so that all being said, in the intro, you'll remember that I categorized the way I use the term strict press as no hip throw, no stretch reflex rebound, and no layback, or at most the tiniest bit on like the last rep or something like that, because we're trying to use the strict press to train and focus on upper body, not to just press as much as we can anyhow we can. So if we skip here, so first I'll just make a couple points about the unrack. We actually did a Barbell Logic video that highlighted some of these points that'll be coming out hopefully soon. But here you see I rotate. Here, actually, I'm going to show this in slow-mo. Notice, look at my wrists and my elbows. As I rotate my elbows under the bar, notice that my wrists remain straight. They don't bend back. So I still maintain this relationship even as my elbows rotate forward under the bar. And notice that my feet are positioned to allow me to do this. So I can't be standing too far behind the bar. I have to be under the bar, and that allows me to keep my wrist straight as I rotate the elbows. Okay, that's a little bit of a tangent. Let's watch the actual set. So the unrack, right, with authority, walk out, blah, blah, blah. Notice on this first rep, there's no hip throw. See, it goes right from a holding at the bottom position directly into the press. That's thing 1. Thing 2, when I bring it down, notice I come to a full and complete stop. So even if we watch this in real time, although the stop is not long, there's an absolute full and complete stop. There's no rebound. Now the nerds and the geeks can argue exactly how long it takes for the complete dissipation of any stretch reflex whatsoever. I think there's some disagreement about that. But there's no active rebound. Even if it's quick, there's a full and complete stop between reps, which you can see there. The bar comes to a full stop even if it's very brief. Now, if I'm being honest with myself, if I was coaching myself here, I would tell me to pause even a tiny bit longer for the next set. Although I came to a full and complete stop, it was just barely. I would probably want myself to have an extra quarter second or so of pause at the bottom. But that's where the next set comes in. So we're going to watch a set at 200, which I did after this, or before this, one of the two, where I actually did pause a bit longer. I was rushing a little bit because 225 is pretty heavy for a strict press set of 5 with no belt, no wrist wraps, and after having benched heavy. So let's watch the 200 set. As promised, here is the 200 set, which I had done prior. Let's watch it in full. Pull it out a little, get under it. Right, so strict presses, full stop at the bottom, breath, and press. No hip throw, no stretch reflex rebound, and no layback. Now what you notice here, what I did different here, is I actually did the entire breath at the bottom, and that ensures that you pause for an adequate amount of time. What I did on the 225 set, which you can do, is okay to do, it's a little more advanced, requires a little more experience to do, is I breathed out at the top, in on the way down, and then just did a voluntary momentary pause. That's fine. It's a little more of an advanced technique. If you're learning to do this at first, and you're not really good, what most people tend to do is kind of like the first time you do a pause squat. You think you've come to a complete stop. All you've actually done is slowed down. So what you need to do to make sure you come to a complete stop is do all of your breathing at the bottom between reps. Breathe the last rep out, stop, breathe a new rep in, get your Valsalva, get set, and then do the next rep. Now, once you get good at that, that will only take you maybe 1 second, but that 1 second ensures that you come to a full, complete stop. So let's watch that again as I'll talk through it. Hear the Valsalva for the unrack, and listen. Hear that? Let's turn the volume up. Hear that breath? So that ensures that at the bottom I breathe out, back in, there's a full, complete stop, a little more full and complete than the 225. The 225 was just barely adequate. Quarter second would have been a little better. But here you can see me do it. Here at the bottom, breathe out, breathe back in. So that is a strict press, example, demo, no layback, no rebound, no stretch reflex, no hip throw, with 225 and a slightly better, slightly stricter version at 200 here for you.